In this video, we're breaking down Peter Skoronski's rookie season, Titans' first round pick in 2023, and I thought he was okay as a rookie. He definitely had some rough moments, gave up 5 sacks, but I just recorded a video on Darnell Wright, who is the Bears rookie offensive tackle, and I'll repeat what I said to start out that video. Rookie offensive linemen are not really supposed to be good. Some of the great offensive linemen are able to hit the ground running in their rookie year, but the norm is that they struggle early adjusting to NFL speed and power. And I think for Skoronski, a lot of the issues that showed up in his rookie year can and will be fixed just by getting stronger. Statistically, like most rookies, he was average to below average in most metrics. PFF liked him a lot more than the other stats, and he didn't have a false start or a holding penalty, so that's good. And then comparing him to every rookie guard since 2014, this plot has PFF run blocking and pass blocking grades. You can see he was slightly above average in pass protection and slightly below average as a run blocker. Just based on the eye test from watching every snap that he played, I would actually have said the opposite, but regardless, he's right near league average. So we'll start out positive looking at pass pro. As a converted tackle, he is extremely skilled with his hands. He's able to use early aggressive punches to establish control, but it's not like an all or nothing two-hand punch where he's overextending. This rep against Miami, you see his length disadvantage kind of come into play. Zach Sieler's able to establish first contact, but Skoronski does a great job of swatting down this inside hand. He's active with the outside hand, and then he regroups with a two-hand punch and sets his anchor. Another nice play against Zach Sieler. This time he's earlier with a two-hand punch, gets his hands inside, and then he's able to kind of manipulate the jersey and snatch trap him into the ground. This next play, Brian Bresee is going to use an outside spin move. Skoronski's initially going in with a two-hand punch, but once he identifies the spin move, he does a great job of pulling back his outside hand. You can see Bresee's wrapping this left hand around. He's trying to hook Peter Skoronski's left arm. It's called the ice pick technique, but Skoronski pulls it back, doesn't give him anything to latch onto, and does a great job mirroring the rest of the rush. I think slide quickness and lateral athleticism is another one of his strengths. He definitely has the foot speed to play tackle. He just doesn't really have the length, but he can set square up with a 3 technique and then mirror inside counters through the A gap. So a tackle's trying to set the inside half of the rusher. If they're punching with the outside hand, they're trying to split their man down the middle. With a guard or a center, they want to set perfectly aligned to the rusher they're trying to block. And a lot of times bigger guards have a difficult time widening out in their set and then redirecting inside through the A gap when they cross over. But you see right here, Skoronski sets outside. The 3 tech tries to club his inside shoulder, but Skoronski has a firm inside hand punch to stay connected to the block. You'd like him to maybe take another step inside instead of setting his anchor with an angle to the quarterback, but it's a 1-step drop. Tannehill's able to get rid of the ball. Another similar example here against Carolina, gets into his set, throws the inside hand. The 3 tech counters inside with a club swim, but he stays connected to resist his momentum and does a good job sliding over and sealing off the A gap. And then nice job here against an inside spin. Initially, the 3 techs attacking this outside shoulder, but once he transitions into the spin move, Skoronski pulls back the inside hand, reestablishes contact down the middle, and slides his feet to mirror the rush. The other thing that stood out as a major positive for Peter Skoronski in pass pro is his grip strength. When he lands his punch, he stays attached to the block. Very difficult to chop or swipe down his outside hand once he's established contact. Right here, he's lined up on Keanu Benton, who had a great rookie season for the Steelers. He punches with the outside hand high, inside hand low, textbook hand placement there. Benton tries to club his outside hand, but Skoronski stays connected, doesn't allow any pressure. Same thing here against the Ravens. High outside hand punch, but his inside hand's low to protect if he tries to counter through the A gap. The 3 tech tries to chop down his outside hand, but he doesn't release contact, sustains the block. And then this play against the Saints, just a violent club to the outside shoulder, doesn't disrupt Skoronski at all. He just stays connected and sets his anchor. But there are some things he needs to improve in pass protection. I think first of all, he just has to get stronger. I felt like that was kind of an under-discussed issue from his college tape. It definitely showed up in his rookie year. Based on the pictures we're getting this offseason, it looks like he has added some weight, which is definitely a good thing. We need thick Pete this year. This first play, he's trying to be patient and feel out the rush. You see him flash the outside hand, pull it back, but the 3 tech uses a hesitation bull rush, and Skoronski just isn't able to engage and get his hands inside. The rusher's able to establish first contact, get some knockback, pry open the inside shoulder, and get a sack. Right here, you see again kind of the length disadvantage come into play. Zach Sieler fires his hands inside, establishes first contact, and then hits him with a push-pull and gets a hit on Will Levis. I also thought his anchor footwork as a rookie was a lot worse than I remember, at least from his college tape. He kind of just tried to walk backwards with bull rushes instead of hop stepping and setting his anchor. You see on this play against Baltimore, he's never really able to square up with the power here. This play from the Houston game, he's got his hands active, so he's ready to throw his punch on command, but he doesn't really punch with much force to match power with power. He gives up a couple steps into the pocket before he sets a wide and square base, and at that point the 3-tech's able to open up the outside shoulder. So I think overall there's hand placement and footwork things that need to be cleaned up, but the most impactful change he can make is just getting stronger, which I think will happen. That usually happens from rookie year to second year. The other consistent issue that I noticed in pass pro was either having too much of his weight on his inside post foot or having that post foot too far forward. So he showed the good rep against Keanu Benton's club swim. This time he's in a 2-eye, so inside shade of the guard. Skoronski takes a close set directly towards him, throws a 2-hand punch, but he's leaning too far inside, and it's kind of hard to tell from this angle, but he's too wide with his outside hand, so he never really establishes contact. Benton clubs the outside shoulder. Skoronski isn't connected to stay with the block, and he's also got to redirect his weight outside through the B gap. This play, Malik Collins threatens the A gap early, but then he hits him with an underhook move to the outside. You can see Skoronski's got too much of his weight centered on this inside post foot, and it makes him a lot easier to toss aside. And then right here, another close set on a 2-eye. If you're going to 2-hand punch like this, you have to establish and secure contact because it's a really difficult recovery otherwise. But the inside foot is also too far forward here, in my opinion, because to recover when the rusher gets the edge on you, you've got to step backwards with the inside foot. You can't just slide over laterally and mirror him. I thought his run blocking was mostly good, not perfect, but I definitely felt like that was the strength of his game as a rookie. Week 1 against the Saints was clearly his best performance. After that game, I thought we were getting all pro as a rookie type of play from Peter Skoronski. He was just flattening people in the run game, never really had that level of dominance after he came back from the appendix surgery. It's hard to say how much of an impact that had. I'm definitely giving him a pass for the 2 or 3 weeks after he came back. I never really knew that appendix surgery could have a lasting impact. I got my appendix taken out a couple years ago and I was fine like a day after, but I am built different. But in all seriousness, week 1 was an outstanding performance from Peter Skoronski, and you see, I think, his biggest strength on this play, which is reach blocking. He has pretty much routine hand placement into initial contact. He gets his hands inside, play side hand underneath the armpit, backside hand on the chest. He's working his helmet across the midline of the defender and then just runs through the block and puts him on his back. Another reach block here. This time Aaron Brewer gets a nice stab on Jerron Reed early in the rep, so Skoronski's able to win play side leverage early. Once he establishes hand placement, he can wheel around with his hips and seal him off to the backside. This play, the 3-tech does establish first contact, but Skoronski has good hand placement here, and the start of the rep, it kind of looks like he's going to get locked out, but again, he just does a great job of running through the block, continuing to work to establish play side leverage. I don't know if this was purposeful by Derrick Henry. He's probably playing off the linebacker here, but this slight hesitation to the cutback actually allows Skoronski to secure this block. You can see he gets 94 to decelerate, and then Skoronski's able to wrap around the outside shoulder, and Derrick Henry takes it in for a touchdown. And pretty much every reach block with Peter Skoronski looks the same. Wide first step, tight hand placement, and then running through the play side shoulder of the block. I do really like this play against Baltimore where the 3-tech tries to backdoor the reach block, but Skoronski stays connected with this backside catch hand, doesn't allow easy penetration into the backfield. He stops his momentum, opens his hips, and seals him off to the backside. And then even though he had some issues anchoring in pass pro, his drive power as a gap scheme run blocker was outstanding. I think the reactive strength needs to improve, but he's so explosive off the line of scrimmage and just routine technique fitting up the block. He's able to generate a lot of power and a lot of displacement on double teams and down blocks. So there's some offensive linemen you might say are more fit for a zone scheme or a gap scheme. I think Skoronski's someone that can block any kind of run concept. He's a good reach blocker. He can create movement at the point of attack. He also does a great job of taking what the defender's giving him and taking advantage of high pad level. This play against Houston, he's got a combo with Aaron Brewer, but once Once the tackle tries to swim over the top and kind of knife through this double team, he raises his pad level, and Skoronski immediately knows that he has leverage advantage. He just drives his legs and moves him about 7 or 8 yards off the line of scrimmage. Similar kind of thing here against the Falcons. David Onyemata tries to club swim around this block. Once he clubs the outside shoulder and kind of stands up, Skoronski just drives directly into him and moves him backwards. So with JC Latham as the left tackle, I'm excited to see the Skoronski-Latham combo blocks. I think Latham can block wide zone, but duo to the left side, Tyjae Spears and Tony Pollard are going to have so much space to work with. The Titans didn't get Skoronski out on the move that often last year, but he's athletic enough to pull. He's got good target location and open space. Right here, he gets a pancake on Foye Oluokun on this jailbreak screen. Another nice block here on Oluokun from their second matchup with the Jags. Isn't able to sustain the block fully, but still creates a lot of space. And then a really nice pull from week 1. He latches onto the end man. Initially, he's engaged with the inside half of the defender, but he does a great job of working to establish play side leverage and then just driving him to the backside. I didn't think he had a ton of negative plays in the run game. There are a few plays where it's just like, once again, he has to get stronger. Right here, he's pulling and he gets blown up by this defensive end, and then his arm length can put him in a disadvantage where he'll get locked out by longer defenders. This play, Zach Sealer's able to stab his frame, slip around the block, and then right here, Sealer establishes early control. He can just kind of lock, peek, and shed and make the tackle. Similar play here against the Steelers. The 3-tech establishes first contact. He extends his elbows, locks him out, waits for Spears to hit the A-gap, and makes the tackle. So in 2023, I think Skoronski was probably a league average guard, which for a rookie, I think is right on track with their development and should have you encouraged about their trajectory going forward. I always think it's a good sign when a rookie offensive lineman's biggest weakness is weakness. Like pretty much every rookie at any position is going to get a lot stronger from year 1 to year 2. So if you're like C+, B- or better in everything else, technique, footwork, hand placement, awareness, but your biggest issue is that you just kind of get overwhelmed by NFL power, I think that's perfectly understandable and it's easy to project that to improve. I do think for the 11th overall pick, I don't know if I would call his rookie season a disappointment, but maybe slightly underwhelming. Because we have seen rookies that just hit the ground running in their first season, I guess it is a slight disappointment that that wasn't the case with Skoronski. And I felt the same way at the time of the draft, but I still think taking a swing on like Broderick Jones or Anton Harrison even would have been a better option, just because of how difficult it is to find quality starting tackle play. But I do feel confident that Skoronski will at least be a quality starter, and if he can really improve his play strength, he has all-pro, Pro Bowl type of potential.